of hype. Went number 2 overall to the New York Jets. Was he number 2 overall? Right behind Baker, if
Yeah, I
I'm
believe so.
mistaken.
Not two or three. I
Yeah.
can't recall.
All right. So didn't go to the most success ready organization at that point in time, but you can say he wasn't ready and the Jets weren't ready. And typically, when you have a situation where the organization isn't ready, the young quarterback isn't ready, that's a recipe for disaster. Things did not work out there. They moved on to Zach Wilson. Things didn't work out with him neither. And over that period of time, since he's been gone from New York, he's had stops in Carolina, San Francisco. He had a cup of coffee there. It's kind of interesting to think what could have been there if Shanahan would have kept him. I think he would have been perfect for that offense. But hey, listen, we can argue whether or not he's better than Brock Purdy. I think he, from a physical talent standpoint, he brings a little bit more to the table than Brock Purdy brings. He's a little bit
Yeah.
bigger, a little bit more sturdy. But um, he lands Minnesota, turns his career around, has a great season. Minnesota made a situation that could have been easy for them and just re-signed him, but they didn't. They didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in it. You didn't believe in it. We discussed potentially him signing with the Raiders this past offseason. So
Yeah.
most of us didn't believe in it. Seattle believed in it. Like Schneider and that team over there, they believed in it. They paid him, and now they're in the Super
Well,
Bowl, man. Like so,
but
it's
so
getting to a point where you got to figure out like is it the cart or is it the horse? Who is really
yeah.
pulling this?
Well, I think Geno Smith would still be the quarterback if he didn't want more money. They essentially came to the table with the contract that they felt was okay for them, and he said no. And that's when the whole trade happened, and they pivoted and went with Sam, which ended up working out for them. Not so much for the Raiders, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah. Shoulda,
But then
coulda,
you
woulda.
you got to think
We
about
don't know.
well, you got to think about Kevin O'Connell. How sick is he seeing all this?
Throwing
And
up
he's,
in his
and he's
toilet
got
right now.
he's got JJ McCarthy.
Um, we talked about this too. How does it possibly make you feel as a head coach? Like let's just say we don't know for sure, but let's just say Kevin O'Connell was asked who he wanted as his quarterback for the 2025 season, and he said Sam Darnold, and the organization said no. Yes, I would be very, very pissed off because we talked about as a head coach, how does it make you feel when you're the orchestrator of the offense? You're the guy that's been making caviar out of ramen noodles for the past 3 years. We talked about the list of quarterbacks he's had since he's been there in Minnesota. And I finally get a guy that I feel like I can win with. I win 14 games with him, and you don't believe it. You tell me no, no, Kevin, we're not going to go in that direction. We drafted this young guy. We owe it to him to get to see this out, and I get it because the Chargers did the same thing back in the day with Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees. Drew Brees, this final season with the Chargers, he played elite. But yeah, Drew, the arm and this and that, and we did just draft Phillip, and we gotta play the first round guy. That's just how it goes. So we're gonna let you go. So I get it, it happens, but if you're Kevin O'Connell, this got to sting, man. And we talked about the quarterback position. This is how powerful, bro, the quarterback position is. It can get GMs fired, it gets head coaches fired. You can go to another team and get that past team GM fired. Because let's be honest about it. I think Sam Darnold is in Seattle right now, but the success that he's having in Seattle right now got that man in Minnesota fired. I think it was part of it.
Yeah, of course,
And then the
because
other
he
story, which is just kind of sad, but yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, you kind of look at it and they're like, well, if we had Sam, we probably would have had a better quarterback play. We saw what he did the only year he was with the Vikings. They won, what was it, 14 games? Is he the
Yep.
first quarterback to win 14 games with two different teams? I think so.
Yeah, I believe, or at least in back-to-back seasons,
Back to back seasons.
which proves he is a difference maker. You can listen, man. Lions fans did this. A lot of national fans, national media did this. He won 14 games with Minnesota, and they gave all the credit to Kevin O'Connell and his supporting cast. He won 14 games with Seattle, and they given all the credit to his head coach and his supporting cast. Come on,
Hmm.
like at some point in time, you got to acknowledge the fact that this man made plays. He was a difference maker for
Yeah,
Seattle,
of course.
and he
Yeah.
was a difference maker for Minnesota. But yeah, like I said, man, as a GM, man, your job security is tied to that guy that's under center. So if let's just say, because we don't know this, but let's just say ownership asked this man, who are we keeping? And he tells the organization, well, we're gonna keep JJ. We had the opportunity to trade JJ when JJ was still an unknown, but JJ played last season, this past season, and now JJ's unknown. And they're not going to be able to really get anything for JJ McCarthy, even if they wanted to trade him. But this man leaves. You choose to not pay him. He goes to Seattle. He wins the Super Bowl. Yeah, guys are going to get fired for that. And he hasn't been there that long. He's been there for what? For wait a minute. Did he get to Minnesota a year after Brad Holmes got to Detroit? If I'm not mistaken, I don't think
Mm,
it was the same offseason.
no, it was different.
Yeah, yeah. And that man is gone. Like that's how cutthroat this business is right now. And Minnesota went from a 14 win team to not making the playoffs and scrambling to find a quarterback now. In Seattle with Mike, I'm about to call him Mike Adams, but with Mike McDonald, second year as head coach, got his own coaching tree now that damn quick, and he's got Seattle in the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm glad that we approach this show this way because if we talk about each team individually and how they got here, it really gives people a complete breakdown of what they're looking at in regards to this game coming up. Now, New England, you've been giving New England a tough time all season, man. Now, when we started the season,
Oh,
we had our
oh, oh.
no, because
Let's
before we
not act
started
like
the
we
season,
like you thought that
I'll
they were
bring
gonna
back
make it
the
here.
graphic. Let me
Go ahead,
find this
bring that.
graphic from week
Go
one.
ahead, man. It was called the preseason
Well,
power
I had them at
rankings.
number 10. I ain't have them
Okay,
going to the
but
Super Bowl. I don't think
but
anybody had them
okay.
doing
Well, you
that.
didn't have. Okay, I just want to make that clear. You did not think they're gonna
No,
be
no, no,
here.
no,
No.
no.
Okay. All right. Well, and a lot of things had to go right for them in order for them to be here. I mean,
Like winning.
let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, they did draw one of the Raiders week one.
Yeah. So
Yeah. How many more did they lose the rest of the way though?
uh, they lost to Buffalo, and who else did they lose to? Someone
Yeah,
else. It was a
they did split with Buffalo, but
yeah. Well, look, they went what 8-0 on the road. Did not lose.
yeah, let's bring some of
Um,
these numbers for these people.
let's do it, but let's not pretend that certain things had to go their way in order for them to get all the way out. And then part of it's luck, man, right?
Damn luck.
I mean, you can call it whatever you like, but things had to go their way in order for them to be here. I mean, same thing with Seattle.
I I get it 100%, but I think when you start to get down to like the nuts and bolts of these teams and you look at the statistical comparisons and the rankings, stats are stats. 100% sports are circus. Um Once you start getting into like the nitty-gritty of it, you start realizing it's real similar to a boxing match. Like two fighters can be very evenly matched, but one guy's style may be more pleasing to the eye. It may be sexier to watch. And that may have you thinking that that guy is the better fighter, but he might not be the better fighter. When you look at Seattle, New England, I want to get into some numbers about these two teams because they're very, very, very close. Overall record, both teams are 14-3. Home record, Seattle is 6-2. New England is 6-3. Away record, Seattle is 8-1. New England is 8-0. Divisional records: Seattle 4-2, New England is 5-1. They're both 9-3 against conference competition. They're both 5-0 against interconference competition. The only big difference between these two teams was strength of schedule, which was Seattle 47%, New England 37%. But they're both 5-1 against common opponents. So I think that kind of trumps this idea that New England didn't play anybody, but Seattle did. They played, 17, not seven, but they played six teams. You look at the turnover margin, Seattle is -3, New England is +3. And then if you go to the defensive rankings, yards allowed, Seattle is sixth, New England is eighth. Seattle is number one in the league in points allowed at 17.2. New England isn't far behind. They're fourth at 18.8. You look at the rushing yards, Seattle's third against the run, New England is sixth against the run. And if you look at the passing yards allowed, Seattle is 10th, New England is ninth. And before we get into like the rushing stats and everything, I think just those particular numbers right there gives you a synopsis of how close these teams really are. They just do it in a different way, man. If you look at Drake May, he's played very poised, very under control. I think this is a testament to the New England Patriots organization and how they've got him prepared in year two to play, and how, like I said, how consistent he's been able to run that Patriots offense all season. You can say he doesn't have like a bona fide number one wide receiver, but he does have Stephon Diggs. He's had a renaissance in his career. He's healthy coming off of that ACL injury he had a year ago with the Houston Texans. He was motivated. He's playing some of the best ball of his career. And they've had a couple guys they've also hit on some draft picks. That's a key thing also over the past couple years. I understand Travion Henderson hasn't had a good playoff this year, but he's been a really good player for them this season. He's a guy I believe can be a potential difference maker for them also this evening. But it hasn't been sexy. But New England has been that little train all season that's just been chugging along, chugging along, chugging along. Um, you don't win 16 out of 17 by accident. You don't go undefeated on the road by accident. I think they have an elite head coach. They have an elite defensive line coach. They have an elite offensive coordinator. Regardless of how you may feel about Josh McDaniels as a head coach, he's elite as an OC. And let's be honest, Drake May, he's playing for an elite organization. And like I said before, he may not have the Super Bowl experience, but at the end of the day, you only have to be better than that team that day. He doesn't have to necessarily go out there and throw for 400 yards this evening and have 4 touchdowns. We don't know what type of game it may require him to have, but I just feel that when you look at what Drake May surrounded by, Robert Kraft, that entire organization, every day when he walks through those doors of that facility, he sees trophies. Like that's all they're about there. And the head coach, I know if you're the Tennessee Titans, you got to be kicking yourself a little bit too.
Well,
But this
I,
man
yeah.
leaves. You thought it was old. It got stale. He left it and he goes back home and he leads them to a Super Bowl. So I think it's an organizational thing. It's something that you can't always measure. And then the weather's going to be better. That's also there too. Because if you look at the weather Mays had to play in, I'm not making an excuse about this, but that's kind of how it is in the AFC. Those AFC games are always outdoors games. They're always those northern teams, up north teams, except for the Detroit Lions who play in the NFC and play indoors. They got a clean field now out there at SoFi. So they can run their real offense. So I think the offense is going to be better. That's something people haven't really taken into account. They can't really run their same offense in that type of weather.
I got a stat for you. So
Let's go for it.
if Milton Williams, defensive tackle of the Patriots, played, there has not been a rusher that goes for over 58 yards
All season, right?
all season.
And they paid that man big money from Philadelphia in free agency.
Yeah, and I mean we're talking about the Patriots. What they did last, offseason, they spent the most money of any team in the league, right? Rebuilding that roster. Of course, bringing in Mike Rabel and then Josh McDaniels back to New England. But I mean, look, both of these teams, I mean, they did what they needed to do. I mean, things have gone their way in order for them to be in this game. So I look, I think we're in for a good game. Um, Definitely, Zach Charbonnet being out for the Seahawks is a factor, right? Because now Kenneth Walker is going to have to take the majority of the workload in the backfield. And then if you're the Patriots on the defensive side, you have to stop Jackson Smith and Jigma. If anybody else beats you, fine, but you cannot let that guy beat you. And we saw what he did against the Rams a couple weeks back. I think he had over 100 receiving yards in the first half.
Thanks, Sports Circus. Yeah, it's Levi, not SoFi. How you gonna not correct me, man? You let me tell these people it was at SoFi. What if these people would have drove to SoFi thinking the Super Bowl was there tonight, man?
North California, Levi's South.
No, just
You're
I
in
get
Detroit,
it,
man.
man.
Sorry.
I know. Yeah, from what Carlton Davis said, and peace to Carlton Davis, former Detroit Lion cornerback from a year ago. From what he said, Christian Gonzalez is going to go out there and shadow Jackson Smith and Jigba, which is what I said initially once we all found out that this was going to be the Super Bowl matchup we were going to have. Um, Smith and Jigba, he's subtle explosive. He's not like that physically overpowering explosive. He does it a lot with suddenness, quickness, footwork. He loves well, he's very, very good at creating space. And Gary Kubiak, and this is something else that Raider fans have to look forward to. Kubiak is elite also at getting wide receivers open. And I think that's something people have to remember too. So if you're in New England, it's not going to be easy to just strap him on Smith and Jigba and think that he's just going to follow him around all day. And Seattle isn't going to figure out ways to get him open. They utilize the entire route tree with Jackson Smith and Jigba. So he's going to be somebody that they're going to have to legitimately worry about. But I'm going to throw a few more stats out there. First down, Seattle has 340 to New England's 360. Rushing first downs, 125 for Seattle, 128 for New England. Um, Penalties on the season, Seattle has 36 to New England's 26. Third down conversion percentage, New England has Seattle topped in both categories. 42%, actually 43% on third down conversions for Seattle. I mean, for New England, to only 39% for Seattle. Fourth down percentages. New England has went for it on fourth down 25 times this season. Seattle has went for it only 12 times this season.
Yeah, they're both conservative teams as far as going for it on fourth down, right? I mean,
No, but not
they're
New
smart.
England.
Well, I mean, but you look at some of those situations though, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they're not the Rams, right? That like to go. They're not the Lions. I mean, I would want to hear what those stats are. Like all these stats are, they're good and all that, but I mean, I think you throw stats out the window in this game. I think you really do. It's not going
You
to be the same
can't.
situations. I don't think it's going to be the same situations. Other games this season they haven't played each other once, and I don't know, man. Look, if the Patriots are going to win the football game, obviously Drake May is going to have to, rush. He's going to have to run a good quality, and we've seen him. He's been struggling essentially all postseason, right? But the difference is his legs. If you think about the AFC Championship game, the last play for them, what was it? Was it 4th and 1, 4th and 2, something like that, and it was a bootleg, and he rushed for a first down.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he'll run. He has no issue with running. He's not going to just unnecessarily run. I do like the fact that Drake will stand in there and climb the pocket and push the ball downfield. So I don't think it's a situation where they're going to feel like they got to protect him. Like I said, that weather that they went through up there at Mile High, they felt like going into the second half of that game they had to protect him. I don't think they feel like they have to protect him in this game, even though Seattle's defense plays very zone heavy and aggressive, playing downhill. I just don't think that they feel like with the track that they're playing on today, with all their wide receivers healthy and Kayshawn Booty and Stephon Diggs and having the rushing attack, the two-headed rushing attack that they have in Ramondre Stevenson, right along with what's the other Henderson, Travion Henderson. Both guys can receive the ball out of the backfield. If we're just keeping it, I believe from a matchup standpoint, like even outside of the stats, I just think the stats show how similar both of these teams are and how nuanced it goes down to like the fourth down percentages. Because even if you look at the fourth down percentages, yeah, they went for it 25 times this season on fourth down, but they went 18 for 25 and they're 72% on fourth down. I don't think that's going to change. So to me, that plays a role in this game if you look at it from the viewpoint of, okay, if this is a close game, is Mike McDonald going to play for it to win? We know that New England, they're willing to go for it on fourth down. Vrabel's willing to do it. He trusts his offensive coordinator. He trusts the play calling that develops behind that. I just think that all of these nuanced things will play a role in this game. And we haven't even gotten to the special teams. Like both teams have really good special teams. Really good special teams. And we all know Mike Vrabel, like that's one of his babies when it comes to his team's defense as well as special teams. And I talked about the possibility of New England this game scoring the offense on defense. I mean, scoring a touchdown on offense, defense, as well as special teams. I think is very well possible because we do have a clean track.
Yeah, and just going back to that AFC Championship game, the first half of that game was a whole different game. Second half, way different, obviously because the blizzard and whatnot. So they had to adjust to certain things on the field, and we're not going to have any weather issues in Santa Clara at Levi's. So both teams are going to have opportunities to make plays.
What's up, Sports Circuit says Jackson Smith and Jigba's success depends on whether Seattle can stop New England from pushing the pocket and flushing Darnold to his offhand. No Zach, so he returns in the so no Zach, so he turns into McCaffrey, and New England can rush 4 and drop back 7. Advantage New England. Yeah, he he said he said something I was gonna say later on in the show too, but no, the Sports Circus, you 1,000% right on that comment right there. Yeah, it's and I love New England, man. I mean, not New England. I mean, like I said, I love Seattle, love the organization. I love how Seattle's built. I could be wrong in this. Anybody could be wrong in this. I'm not saying that Seattle has no legitimate opportunity to win this game. They could go out there and smash New England. They honestly could, and I don't think anybody would be genuinely shocked by it. I just think that when you look at it for what it is, I'm giving this win at least 80% on the organization versus the organization. That's what I really believe is going to be. And like I said, I honestly believe too, the Patriot offense we saw in the playoffs over there in the AFC, that's not what we're going to see today.
Yeah, no, and Sam has been dealing with that oblique injury. I mean, what it's been 3, 4 weeks, so should be getting pretty close to healing, right? So I don't think we're going to see any limitations on his side. But for Seattle, I mean, obviously we know Jackson Smith and Jigma, but Cooper Cup is going to have to make some plays in this football game, right? Walker equals McCaffrey today. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to. No Zach. I mean, he's going to have to take the majority of the workload. So a lot of catching for him out of the backfield. That's going to be a prop to watch for all my bettors out there. I think right now it's at 3.5, might be moved to 4. So I would take the over on that. But yeah, man, when you think about Seattle's offense, I mean, it's predicated obviously on what Sam Darnold can do. But the second half of the season, they've been a majority a run team. So in order for them to be successful in this game, they're gonna have to run the ball.
Of course. Of course. I don't expect either team to come out and not be who they are. But like I said before, with Seattle, what I've noticed about Darnold from playing against him twice last season when he was in Minnesota to watching him this season, he's a guy that you can't give extra possessions to and you can't give short fields to. That's why I was a big fan of, and we talked about this a few days ago. If I'm New England and I win the coin toss, I would rather send my defense out there first over sending Drake May out there first against Seattle's defense. I want to set the tone with my defense. If you look at Seattle's defense, you go out there against them, they're hyped up, you run your plays, you end up going 3 and out. I just believe that when you look at the Super Bowls, those type of situations matter because they can kind of change the tone of the entire first half. And sometimes when you change the tone of the entire first half, or you allow the other team to set the tone for the entire first half, it can create a rough situation. But hey, Bobby Drake has okay. Y'all throwing y'all predictions out there, which I think is great. Bobby Drake has 27. What's up with this 27,
I
man?
don't know. People like the number 7 and the number
You
0.
know, I got 31-27. I know Eric Russell, I talked to him prior to this. He said he has 31-27 Seattle. It's something about that 27, man.
There's a lot of people out there think it's going to be a blowout. That
Nah,
Seattle's just going to
I don't
dominate the
see it.
Patriots.
Nah.
Now I will say though, the Patriots cannot afford to fall behind. And if I'm the Patriots, I'm taking the ball first if I win the coin toss. And we talked about it earlier in the week.
Well, as I
Get
was
those
saying
jitters out
though,
of the way.
listen,
You got to
as
get
I
those jitters out of the way for Drake
nah,
May. Take the ball,
yeah, it's
score.
possible. It's possible. 26-19. Okay, Sports Circus has 26-19, New England. I'm gonna say this. Like I said, going back to my what I was trying to make with my original point, after watching Darnold these last couple years have the levels of success he's had. When that defense, because Seattle's defense comes at you in waves. If they get some three and outs, they get a takeaway here and there. They cause some chaos because we know what Mike McDonald's defense likes to do. All of their tackles, I mean, all of their corners are physical. They're all long. They all play cover two very well. They all come down to tackle very well. That's part of his defense. And they can get pressure with just rushing four people. So when you can create chaos coverage wise in the middle of the field from tackle to tackle for the quarterback, and you shrink everything outside because regardless of what people think of Tariq Woolen, he's a tremendous talent. He's a very physically gifted corner. And so is Devin Witherspoon. They've got Kobe Bryant. They
They got
got
some
an
dudes.
abundance of guys. Nick Emiore also. He's like another athletic freak out there that they took as a safety, and they're essentially playing him as a nickel at 6'3", 220 pounds. So
Leonard
they're very
Williams on
innovative with how they use their players too.
you got Williams on the defensive line too. I mean,
Hmm.
former what giant jet. So
Yeah. But no, listen, I'm just saying if you give Sam Darnold some short fields and you start giving Seattle extra possessions, and you now next thing you know is 21-2 and 21-2 get a safety. It's 21-3. Next thing you know is 31 to 10 to 14 or something like that, or 17. That's how Seattle can get you, and that's how Sam Darnold can get you. If you can lock Sam Darnold in a four-quarter game, no mistakes, because that's something else we got to pay attention to. Interceptions on the season. Darnold has 15 interceptions. Drake May has 8. So Sam will have a tendency to try to make plays a little bit more than Drake May will, which is funny to say because one guy's the veteran and the other guy's the second year quarterback. But Sam will give the ball away. And he'll fumble the ball too. Like those fumbles got up there this season too. So all of those things matter in these types of games. Penalties. Seattle's the more penalized team. Turnovers. Seattle's committed more turnovers this season. Like those are the little nuanced things about the game I think people got to start taking into account too. And the stats, another main reason I bring the stats up is because not only do they show you or give you an insight to how close these two teams are, it also gives you an insight to how we view football. And like I made but I made the comparison to like two boxers. Two boxers may be two elite boxers, may be very, very close, but you may like boxer A more than you like boxer B because boxer A style is more pleasing to your eye. Doesn't necessarily mean he's better. You just like the way he goes about his business better. And I think Seattle plays a more attractive brand of football, the way they attack on defense, the way they attack downfield on offense, the zone running scheme with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They get a lot of big runs in the rushing attack. They take a lot of shots downfield out of play action to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Seattle's a more attractive looking football team. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're better. And at the end of the day, man, this isn't a 7-game series. You could say that in a 7 game series, Seattle might beat New England in 6 or whatever it may be, but New England just has to be better than Seattle on this day. Seattle just has to be better than New England on this day.
All right, man. Give me your winner.
Oh, you
And
already know, man. It's
you're
New
sticking.
England. I got New England uh 31-27. I'm sticking with the 27. Sports
Seattle's
Circuit
deep.
says Seattle's defense plays big when needed. They are soft between the 20s. Field goals will certainly be kicked in this game. I agree. I agree. But New England will go for it on fourth down.
Not like Sean McVay and the Rams. Not like Dan Campbell and the Lions.
Man, why you keep bringing my head coach in here, man?
I have to. It's the truth.
Yeah, whatever, man.
All right. Well, look. I'm going Seattle.
Hmm.
Patriots might win. Who knows? Score. Give me 33-30. We get overtime today.
I hope we get overtime. I thought about it. I thought about it.
All right. So the Patriots do win. Who's the MVP?
Oh, you already know. You already know,
I
man.
don't know. That's why I'm asking.
I would say this just because it would just be very status quo for me to say, "Oh, Drake may." Um, I would like to go out on the limb and say it's going to be a defensive player, but they won't allow it to be a defensive player. So I'm going to say it's going to be a running back. Just to throw it out there,
All right. Which one?
it's going to be Travion Henderson.
All right.
I
So
think he scores the touchdown on special teams, and that's what sways the MVP voters.
all right. Well, I got one for you. So if Seattle does win, we are talking receiver, and I'm gonna go with the last receiver to win the MVP in the Super Bowl, which was Cooper Cup. I think if Seattle's gonna win this football game, is gonna have a big part in that. So
Think the experience gets him there.
yeah, I think so.
What about the
Uh,
coordinator matchup though, man? Like I think we did this, man. This is some people don't like it. I heard some people talking about how we should have got Rams, Bills, and all this other stuff, man. This is a damn good matchup we got, man. Low key, especially from a coaching standpoint. You're talking about Mike McDonald versus Mike Vrabel. You're talking about Josh McDaniels as an offensive coordinator against Mike McDonald's defense, having 2 weeks to prepare for that defense. At least both coaches having 2 weeks to prepare for each other. The chess match that's going to be going on between those two coaches. Like this is going to be a damn good game. We got a young elite cornerback and Christian Gonzalez going against a young elite wide receiver and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like there's a lot going on in this game, man.
all right. So the under over is 45.5 points as of today. The
Yeah.
Seahawks are favored by 4.5 points in this matchup. The under has hit in 6 of the last 10 Super Bowls, with the last 4 Super Bowls going under.
So we both taking the over, right? I mean, if you're
I'm
going
taking
with
over,
overtime too, yeah. Yeah. I got the over.
but
Yeah.
what, the last 4 Super Bowls have gone under.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say never mind coordinators. Like that's
But that's
somebody
what I.
got to
But that's what I.
somebody got to call plays and put them in position to make the plays now. Like
But
you got
yeah,
to
but
be
that's what I've been saying though. Yeah, I mean, you can
coaching
coach up the
matters.
player. Well, I mean, it does matter, but the players are the ones that are going to determine if they execute or not. So I don't know. Hopefully,
Yeah,
we get a good
whatever.
game. But the bigger question I have for you is, do you know who Bad Bunny is?
Nah, I don't. I didn't
Because
never heard about him until the news broke that he was going to be the
I saw they
person.
were interviewing the Patriots and Seahawks players, and they were asking, "Do you know who Bad Bunny is?" And they had like no clue. But that
Yeah,
is your
nobody
halftime
did.
show.
Well, I've heard people say he's bigger than the NFL. So
Uh, he's he's pretty big.
mm,
Uh,
so I don't
I mean,
know.
I really don't listen to his music, but yeah, he's a pretty big deal, I guess.
Yeah, I never heard anything from the person, but you watching? Listen,
Yeah,
I don't watch the
I'm
halftime
watching.
show anyway.
You
Never.
don't? Well,
No.
I gotta watch the whole thing. I got advertisers in the game. I gotta make sure they're running correctly.
Well, there we go. But me personally, I never watch the halftime show. I'll turn over to The Simpsons or something, or uh,
Is that still on?
make a store run, refresh or play the nachos.
Yeah.
No, my wife, she watches it though. She
Oh, happy
loves it.
birthday to your wife, by the way.
Thank you. I will make sure I let her know. Let her know.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to go and do it for this edition of This Week in Pro Football. Thank you, everyone out there, for watching and listening. Enjoy the game.